We are Black Hawks. We are LA.
It's time for Dodger Baseball. Live from Dodger Stadium, Prime Ticket presents the Dodgers as they take on the San Francisco Giants. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Wednesday afternoon to you. Welcome to the last one for 2012. Fittingly, a Giant-Dodger ball game. Last year, the Giants and Dodgers split 18. This year, the Giants have won 10 of the 17, and of course, this one's up for grabs. Ryan Vogelsong will be on the mound for the Giants, trying to get his 15th victory. On the mound for the Dodgers will be Clayton Kershaw with a couple of incentives. First of all, he's trying to win his 13th. Secondly, he's trying to win the ERA crown. Has a good shot at that, an ERA of 2.58. But the other one that's pretty elusive, R.A. Dickey has 230 strikeouts, and Clayton Kershaw has 221. Well, if you're wondering, the Giants are playing their first team, so it'll be a good one. Pull up a chair for the last time this year. We'll get back to the ball game and a whole lot more right after this.
Season for the Dodgers, taking on the Giants. And last night, the Subway surprise was on the line when the Dodgers were officially eliminated from the playoffs, when the Giants beat them 4-3. What a ninth inning. What a game it was. What a roller coaster of emotions we all went through. Out here in center field, Steve Lyons, Patrick O'Neill. We're going to take one specific moment of the season, and this was the MVP runner-up from a year ago, Matt Kemp. His April, Steve, was one of the best months we've ever seen from any player ever. We thought, man, the sky's the limit, but he gets hurt. If Matt doesn't get hurt, what type of a season do you think we would have had?
Well, I think earlier in the season, it was guys like Matt Kemp and Andre Ether that were completely carrying this team in games that they were winning. Next year, that's not going to have to be a problem. Matt's going to be part of a cast of characters, and well, he can fit into a group of guys that can play the way he can play. And you see it starting to blossom with him here towards the end of the year after he started feeling healthy again. If he never gets hurt this season, you're talking about another monster year out of a guy like Matt Kemp.
Yeah, and unfortunately, he re-injured the hamstring, then he crashed into the wall. He hurt his shoulder, but he was playing in pain the rest of the way during that 6-game winning streak. I mean, put up incredible numbers. Unfortunately, the last game last night just did not go his way, and the Dodgers were eliminated. But still one of the best players in the game. And one of the best moments that we saw all year is a moment that Dodger fans will remember forever.
So make way, a roll of drums and a blare of bugles. Coming up with runners at first and third, and a standing welcome to Dodger Stadium ovation for Adrian Gonzalez. He drives one into deep right field, right down the line in the corner, 3-run home run. Welcome to the Dodgers. And it's 4-1 Dodgers.
Of the 2012 season, that's Clayton Kershaw, who is taking the hill. There was a question whether or not Clayton would pitch, but not to Clayton Kershaw at all. He knew he was going to pitch. His numbers have been outstanding. Didn't get the wins, not his fault. Do you think he deserves the Cy Young this year?
I don't think he'll win the Cy Young. Whether or not he deserves it is quite another thing. He's certainly right up there with the division leaders again in the National League in all the categories that you need except wins. When you look at some of the other guys, a guy like R.E. Dickey makes a knuckleball work this year for the first time consistently of any real knuckleball pitcher. Usually they're 500-type pitchers. He was nasty this year. He's got all the numbers to go with it. It looked like it might be his year to win it.
Yeah, overall, though, Clayton's performance, considering, remember the plantar fasciitis and then later the hip, he really had to struggle. He had to change his approach. At times, the slider wasn't always working for him this year. Relied more on the curve and was effective.
Yeah, he proved himself to be an outstanding pitcher this year, even deeper than he had in years past by being able to adjust and go from one pitch to another if he realized one of them wasn't working as well and pitching through the injuries. Problem is, those guys that vote for that don't really look at it. stuff. They look at numbers and they see one guy that might have been a nose ahead of someone else, and that's who they vote for. But, I think just to end the season, 162, the Dodgers aren't in it. Clayton Kershaw's in it. He's going out there to pitch. It's the one thing that makes it all palatable for me.
One of the best pitching performances we saw here at Dodger Stadium all year. It wasn't from Kershaw, no disrespect. It was Aaron Harang and 9 consecutive strikeouts. 9 straight Ks, a Dodgers record.
He was just blowing guys away with high fastballs for the most part. These guys weren't even touching it.
Against the Padres.
Yeah, one guy got on, and then he struck out the next 9 straight hitters. Unbelievable.
The Dodgers had a promotion. They were selling $9 tickets for the next weekend. And Aaron Harang, of course, showed his tremendous command whenever you were out there doing those post-game interviews with the Super Soaker.
Yeah.
He didn't miss you.
Once you see the Super Soaker coming, it's too late. That was so special to watch.
Yeah, it was.
Obviously a franchise record, and he had great command of his pitches that day. And plus, it was so much fun because he played for the Padres the year before, so he's striking out a lot of his buddies.
You're looking at Tom Minnesota paying his respects to Don Mattingly and the Dodgers. When we come back, first pitch, Vin Scully has the call. We'll see you for the postgame.
And emotion agree. The Hyundai Sonata is amazing. By AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network, AT&T Rethink Possible. And by CarMax. Start the search for your next car at CarMax. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Wednesday afternoon to you, wherever you may be. It has boiled down to this, and then there was one, and it's the Dodgers and the Giants, fittingly enough, but only going through their paces. For Bruce Bochy and his club, they're playing all the fellas they hope will take them all the way to the heights in the postseason. The Dodgers are going to do the same, so the prospects of a good ball game right now. And we'll take a look at Bruce Bochy's lineup. It's Angel Pagan in center and Marco Scutaro at second. Pablo Sandoval at third. Buster Posey behind the plate. Hunter Pence in right field. Xavier left. Brandon Belt at first base. Joaquin Arias at shortstop. Ryan Vogelsong on the mound. On the mound for the Dodgers would be Clayton Kershaw. The 24-year-old allowed just 5 hits and struck out 10 in his last game when the Dodgers shut out the Rockies. Against the Giants, however, despite a brilliant 1.7 earned run average, he is 1-3 with San Francisco. But spurring him on today is the fact he has a good shot to lead the ERA in the National League for the second straight year. But at the same time, he can't be knocked around, or R.A. Dickey might very well catch him. Dickey pitched yesterday. In his career against the Giants, Clayton Kershaw is 7-4, and the earned run average belies everything. His earned run average in his career against the Giants is 1.3, and the question is, how in the world did he ever have a record of 7-4? But again, that's the way it goes in baseball, and he'll be facing Pagan, Scutaro, and then Sandoval. The Giants, as they check in, having already clinched, trying to get their 95th win, and Pagan takes off the plate, ball one. Giants are 94-67. They'll go home and play Cincinnati. The Reds, having beaten the Cardinals last night, have won 97 games. So Pagan, switch hitter, batting right-handed. Kershaw into the windup, and the left-hander deals, and it swung on and popped up. Right side, Gonzalez started back. Now comes racing into the mound to make the catch. So one away, and Marco Scutaro coming up. Marco Scutaro, one of the best clutch hitters in baseball, hitting .400 with runners in scoring position, and it was typical of him last night. He came up in a tight game. It was 2-1 Giants, and in the fifth inning, with 2 on, they had walked Pagan intentionally, and Scutaro promptly doubled down the right field line to drive in 2. Giants had 4, held on to win it 4-3. Scutaro also has a 19-game hitting streak. 82 degrees here at 4:15 in the afternoon, and the first pitch from Clayton Kershaw is low, ball one. Major League ball players are truly remarkable. Well, it will take a remarkable pair of eyes to see that baseball right about now, and for the next hour or so, Scutaro fouls it away. 1-1 to count. Home plate is in shade. The mound is bisected, sun on one side, shade on the other, and the entire outfield pretty much sun, with a little patch of shade down the left field corner. 1-1 to count. Kershaw comes back. Scutaro swings and hits one to left field. Moving over to pick it off is Victorino. And we have 2 down in the first inning, and Pablo Sandoval coming up. Dodgers trying to finish up by winning their 45th game at home. For the Dodgers, one of the things that is maddening for them, going into today's game, they have played 56 games decided by 1 run. 56. They are 29-27 by losing 4-3 last night. Sandoval batting right-handed, and the first pitch very high, ball one. 1-0. For the boys on the infield with Gonzalez and Ellis, Ramirez, Cruz, and the outfield, Victorino, Kemp, and Ethier. Behind the plate, Tim Fedorovich, as they give A.J. Ellis a well-deserved rest. The next pitch is high and away, backhanded by Fedorovich. 2 balls and no strikes to count. For the Dodgers, so near and yet so far. As Kershaw ready, Clayton comes back, and the pitch foul to the screen, and the count 2-1. Pablo Sandoval having a good year, but certainly he can do better. Sandoval hitting .282, 12 home runs, 63 runs batted in. Kershaw ready and comes back, and it's taken very high. 3-1 the count to Pablo Sandoval. Hitting back of him is Buster Posey, on his way to winning the batting crown. And the next pitch is swung on, lifted back at second base. Mark Ellis fighting the sun and makes the catch for the out. So a quick first inning for Clayton. Giants go 1-2-3. At the end of half an inning, Giants nothing, Dodgers coming up. last card of the year, and it's just about the same as last night with the exception behind the plate. Mark Ellis at second, Andre Ethier, Matt Kemp, and Adrian Gonzalez. Then Hanley Ramirez, Shane Victorino, Luis Cruz at third, Tim Fedorovich behind the plate, and Clayton Kershaw on the mound. On the mound for the Giants, Ryan Vogelsong, and the big left-hander ready to go to work against the Dodgers. He's trying to win his 15th. Vogelsong is 14-9. He is 2-1 against the Dodgers this year, and he is 4-2 lifetime. So Vogelsong, who was an all-star last year, ready to go to work on the Dodger leadoff man Mark Ellis. Vogelsong 6'4", 215, and Ellis ready to check in. So Mark waiting. Vogelsong looks down the barrel to get a sign, and the big guy deals, and Ellis takes a little low ball, 1-0. Clayton Kershaw made 10 pitches in the first inning to retire the Giants. Ellis hitting .259, 10 years in the big leagues, first one with the Dodgers, a very well-respected and well-liked veteran. And the 1-0 pitch picks up the outside corner for a strike, and the count 1-1. Naturally, if the Dodgers had to do over, and especially if Mark Ellis had it to do over, in the 7th inning last night, he would not have tried to go to third, but he did, and that's history. The 1-1 pitch on the way. Ellis swings, doesn't get it, and the count 1-2. And it would be typical of Mark if he makes a mistake. It would not be from loafing or boredom, whatever. It was the only case of perhaps over hustling, trying to get a little more out of the double. So Ellis waits. 1-2 the count. Vogelsong rocks and ready and comes back, and there's a drive to right field. Coming in and then having to back up a little is Pence for the out. So that line drive almost took off on the Giant right fielder. One away, and Andre Ethier coming up. Andre Ethier in last night's ball game had a double, struck out, hit by a pitch, and then in the 9th inning, and he was battling a left-hander, he got a base hit to center field to put the Dodgers tying run aboard. It was not to be, but he was finishing up with a flourish. 35 doubles. Andre checks in against Vogelsong. Ethier hitting .283. Vogelsong delivers, and that's fouled away off to the left out of play. Andre with 20 home runs, 89 runs batted in, so he'd like to round that off, I'm sure. One out, bottom of the first, no score. Last year, Giants and Dodgers split their 18. This year, Dodgers bowed to the Giants. They've already clinched the season series 10-7. Ethier takes the next pitch off the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike to Andre. Vogelsong, both feet on the rubber, looks down to get a sign. We might look up the past to see if it determines anything about the present. Ethier waits. Vogelsong swings, and Andre's way out in front of it. Ryan Vogelsong going up against Andre Ethier. Ethier hitting .333 against him. That would be 4 for 12. One and two, 1 out first inning, no score. Vogelsong ready, comes back with the next pitch. That's hit in the air to left field. Going from sunlight to shade is Xavier Nady to make the catch. And we have 2 down in the first inning, and Matt Kemp coming up. One picture is worth 1,000 words, and last night one picture, maybe it summed up the entire year of frustration and pain and anger and disappointment and eventually sorrow. And that was the picture of Matt Kemp when the game was over, sitting in the bench, chin on his chest, hands to his face, holding his head to sum it all up. Matt batting .304, had a bad game last night, and he'd be the first to admit it. Struck out 3 times, hit back to the box, failed to advance a runner, and he takes a strike, and the count 0-1. It has been all of the above for Matt Kemp this year. He's had great moments and sorrowful moments. Played in 106 games, so he missed 56 games. That would have made a huge difference to the Dodgers and for the Dodgers during the pennant race. Matt has a look at another strike. Larry Vanover is the plate umpire. Dan Bellino, Jerry Lane, and Paul Emmel working the lines. For Larry Vanover, finishing up his 20th year, he did the American League Championship Series last year. Now the strike 2 pitch on the way is in there for strike 3. We were talking about Matt Kemp last night. If you're watching on television, you can see hands folded, head and back bent over, staring down at the ground. Just one picture of life in the big league. No score. A couple of young players who will be battling each other head to head for years to come. Clayton Kershaw and Buster Posey. And the first pitch in for a strike for Posey. Posey is hitting against Clayton Kershaw 194. He does have 6 hits. Swings right through a pitch. For Posey, on his way to winning the National League Batting Championship, hitting .337. And since the All-Star break, the hottest hitter in the majors, hitting .388. Buster takes low. It is very rare, understandably, for a catcher to win the batting crown. After all of that bending behind the plate and the heat saps a man's strength during the course of a long year. But a couple of catchers have done it. The 1-2 pitch, Posey swings at a big curveball and strikes out, 1 away. So Buster Posey will win the batting crown this year. He will join Bubbles Hargrave, who did it back in 1926. Another big, quiet catcher with Cincinnati, Ernie Lombardi. Ernie won the batting championship twice. And over in the American League, the phenomenal Joe Mauer, the catcher, has won it 3 times. Meanwhile, here's Hunter Pence, and he takes a strike, and the count 0-1. Pence is 1 for 21 against Clayton Kershaw. Came over from the Phils the end of July and provides a lot of sock. He backs off and takes a strike. So Hunter is in trouble, 0-2. Pence, 24 home runs, 104 runs batted in. Ground ball slowly wide of third. Cruz is up with it, gets it over to Gonzalez. And we have 2 down in the second inning. Now we'll bring up Xavier Nady. When you look at the Giant hitters in the game, you find out that 2 fellas have hit home runs against Kershaw in the past. and that would be Pill. And we'll check about Nady. So Xavier checking in at the plate. Right-hand batter went to Cal Berkeley and takes a strike. 0-1. Nady last night made a remarkable catch, and it turned out to be huge. Maybe taking a home run, certainly an extra base hit away from Adrian Gonzalez. And of course, every play is huge in a one-run game. And then the night before, it was Nady throwing out Gonzalez at home, trying to score on a base hit. So he's been busy. It's a one-hopper to the right side. Mark Ellis takes care of him. So that's 6 in a row retired by Clayton Kershaw. And at the end of an inning and a half, he walks off, no score. Stretch in which he allowed 34 earned runs in 29 innings. However, he has turned that around. He's allowed just 1 earned run in his last 13 innings, and he'll go to work against Adrian Gonzalez, Hanley Ramirez, and then Shane Victorino. Adrian Gonzalez in last night's game had 1 hit, so he has a 14-game hitting streak, batting .299. Hitting .296 with the Dodgers. So Adrian waits and Vogelsong deals, and he drops the first one in there nicely for a strike, and the count 0-1. You wonder why Bruce Bochy would play his regulars in a meaningless game, but it's not so meaningless for Bruce Bochy. Here's Vogelsong ready to come back 0-1, and that swung on, popped up behind second base. Arias goes out and makes the catch, and we have 1 away. The Giants will be playing Cincinnati on Saturday. And as Bruce said, no one likes to have 2 days off before an important series. So since they're off Thursday and Friday, Sandoval, Posey, and company will play a bit today, and you can bet they'll work out the next 2 days. Another note about the Giants, Buster Posey did not catch last night. He played first base. He had back spasms in the later innings of game 1 of the series, but he reports he's okay, and he is handling Vogelsong. The first pitch to Hanley Ramirez, a strike, and the count 0-1. Ramirez hitting .258, grinding it out. He's been in 157 games. Last year he appeared in about 92. He takes a pitch a little low. 1 ball and 1 strike to Hanley. 1 out, second inning, no score. So Ryan Vogelsong getting ready for the playoffs. One of the question marks for the Giants would be Madison Bumgarner. He has been struggling. 1-1 pitch on the way. His fastball in for a strike, and the count 1-2. So Hanley Ramirez trying to get something going. Bumgarner leaning on the railing, taking in the ball game. They need him, of course, to be 100%. That's for sure. The 1-2 pitch is low, 2-2. Bumgarner has won 16 games, but he has lost 11. He has a good ERA of about 3.3, but he's also worked 208 innings. For the Giants with a strong staff going in. 2-2 the count to Hanley Ramirez. Vogelsong reading Posey. A long read. And now they're ready. Vogelsong's pitch, a breaking ball, swung on and missed. Good curveball down and away. Second strikeout for Ryan, and it'll bring up Victorino. You know, next year's preliminary schedule is available online. Highlighted by opening day with the Giants, some great interleague opponents, Yankees, Red Sox, and Angels. New season tickets start at $6. So to place a deposit for next year, call 323-224-1365. Or you can visit Dodgers.com/season tickets. So here's Victorino, and he hits a comebacker. First pitch speared by Vogelsong, who throws him out. So the Dodgers go quickly. We have not had anything as far as a base runner. Each side has been retired 6 in a row. No score. '98, and they're playing Arizona today. Brandon Belt starts it off and takes a strike. We had 2 teams in the National League lose 100 games. Chicago lost 101 and Houston 106. Next pitch swung on and missed. Over in the American League, they did not have a 100-game loser, and luckily the other night Colorado won. So the worst they can do is lose 99. The next pitch a little low and away. Brandon Belt up there, left-hand hitting first baseman, and a very good one. Belt, 7 home runs, 56 runs batted in, flinches on a great curveball, and down he goes. That's a big league breaking ball, and a big league hitter just got out of the way of it, and it dropped right in. Second strikeout for Kershaw. At the very opening of the broadcast, we talked about Clayton Kershaw trying to catch R.A. Dickey for the strikeout lead. Dickey pitched yesterday. The knuckleballer has 230. Clayton came in here with 221, and he's picked up 2. And the pitch swung on and missed. Joaquin Arias at the plate, hitting .272, 5 home runs, 34 runs batted in. Kershaw ready and comes back. Fastball, foul back. Arias had really been something. Normally, Brandon Crawford plays against right-hand pitching, and Joaquin plays against the lefty. So when Capuano pitched last night, all Arias did was hit a home run in the 3rd inning. Right-hand batter waiting, takes a look at a pitch off the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Arias since August 1, hitting .321. Kershaw looks down the barrel to get a sign. Long look. Now he's ready. Comes back with a pitch inside on the hands, and that's fouled away. Arias quick to turn on the pitch and knock it foul. Joaquin Arias. It was back in 2004. He was involved in a deal, but everybody lost his name. The 2 players involved were Alfonso Soriano and Alex Rodriguez. This time he fouls another pitch away. If you look at Arias, he might remind you a little bit of Alfonso Soriano. Against left-handers since the All-Star break, he's hitting .329. Kershaw delivers big curveball, but it stayed up, and it was 73 miles an hour. 2-2 the count to Joaquin Arias. He'll play a lot of short against left-handers. Brandon Crawford starts against the righties. And the 2-2 pitch on the way. Swung on and fouled at the plate. So Joaquin is still there. Kershaw has retired 7 in a row. Vogelsong retired 6 in a row. And we have 1 out here in the 3rd inning. Arias waiting. Clayton into the windup. Back he comes. Fastball, and that's grounded to Cruz. He's plenty of time to throw him out, but to his credit, Arias racing down the line. 2 out in the 3rd inning. Kershaw has retired 8 in a row, and Ryan Vogelsong will be coming up. Vogelsong has 5 hits, including a double, but he has struck out more than half the time. Not a bad bunter. He has 8 sacrifices. And he promptly hits a soft flare right to Adrian Gonzalez. The biggest problem he had with that might have been the sun. So 9 in a row retired by Clayton. He walks off the field, no score. in the box by San Manuel. Play $250,000 Sports Watch football at San Manuel. It's free to play. And by Kettle One. Bottom of the third inning, no score in the ball game. Ryan Vogelsong battling Clayton Kershaw. It will be Luis Cruz, Tim Fedorovich, and then it would be Clayton Kershaw. So Luis Cruz had a very good year, a surprising year. A fellow who languished in the minor leagues, might even have gone to play in Japan out of desperation, but he is hitting .296 with 6 home runs, 40 RBIs. In the other games he had played in his major league career, he hit .220, and nobody ever realized he'd become the hitter that he is right now. So Cruz checks in at the plate. Ryan Vogelsong both feet on the rubber, and here we go in the third, no score. Thought during the game we would just skim the cream off the top as far as the season is concerned. Cruz takes a strike and they count 0-1. For instance, the Dodgers did not have a good offensive season, but they did a few things well. First of all, they didn't strike out. They were 13th in the league in striking out as Cruz takes low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Dodgers ran the bases aggressively. They were the number 2 club scoring from second base on a single, about 13% higher than the average. So far so good in those areas. The next pitch to Cruz, foul back, 1-2. Dodgers, they sacrificed to advance runners. They were number 1 in sacrifices, and that was 27% higher than the National, and they really did make some productive outs. They'd score runners from third base, and they'd advance runners from second base, and they could work into deep counts. Next pitch is swung on and missed, and that goes for Cruz. He becomes strikeout number 3, and the batter is Tim Fedorovich, the catcher. Chris Capuano looking on. Last night went 3, had a bruised left shoulder, although he didn't talk about it as an excuse. He really allowed only 2 runs. Capuano, you know how they have the weighted metal donut on the bat? It fell off and hit him on the shoulder while he was taking batting practice, actually before he went up to the plate. So here's Fedorovich, right-hand batter, and takes a strike, and they count 0-1. Matt Traynor, taking BP last night, strained his left side, so he couldn't play last night and probably not today. So Fedorovich, in his 3rd game of the year, he's had a walk. Right-hand batter, bends at the knees and waist, and a fastball in there for a strike. The Dodgers, however, had a below-average season on offense. They lacked home run power. Of course, that's not a surprise. They were 15th in the lowest rate of home runs to plate appearances. That's about 40% below the average team in the league. Meanwhile, Fedorovich takes strike 3. 4 strikeouts for Vogelsong, and Clayton Kershaw coming up. Not only did the Dodgers lack home run power, they were not driving in runs per at-bat. Another surprising feature, because you think of the Dodgers as having some very, very good base runners, but they were caught stealing bases. 3rd highest number of caught stealing. The fastball to Kershaw is outside, ball 1. The Dodgers also did not run first to third on a base hit. They were not very good at that at all. And they had speed like D. Gordon, etc., but it didn't make any difference. 1-0 pitch on the way is swung on and fouled away. Another thing, and of course this is like a sword to the heart, the Dodgers hit into too many double plays. The Dodgers number 1 highest number of double plays. That would be 21% higher than the other teams in the National League. The pitch is in for a strike. If you look at the Dodgers, they hit into we'll check the actual number. They hit into 139 double plays. during the course of the year, a killer. Here's the 1-2 pitch on the way, and that swung on and hit foul down the line. So Clayton is still there. Dodgers also hit into double plays with men in scoring position. So that would gray a manager's hair. So that was one of the big Achilles tendon, and it was torn as far as the Dodger offense was concerned. Now the pitch to Kershaw, swung on and missed. Down he goes. Vogelsong is getting ready. He has struck out the side. He has struck out 5, and at the end of 3, no score. AT&T.com/free your TV. Rethink possible. And by El Pollo Loco, crazy you can taste. Friends, be sure stay tuned later in the game for a sneak peek at Liam Neeson's new action film, Taken 2. Meanwhile, we have ourselves a dandy as the sisters look down on the game. Every time I look at the palm trees out here, I remember when they first opened up Dodger Stadium back in 1962, and you weren't aware of it during the daytime. But at night, you would not believe the size of the moths that were in those palm trees. I mean, huge. They were bigger than your index finger and fatter as well. And if you forgot and parked your car, you'd get in after the night game, start driving home, and all of a sudden a huge moth would fly up into your face. That was really scary. So one of the ground rules for all of us, when you got to Dodger Stadium way back in those days, you made sure the windows of the car were up. Of course, the more people who came here as years went on, the moths moved on. Pagan popped up in the first inning, 0 for 1. He's been a thorn in the Dodgers side all year. Ground ball to Cruz right on the chalk, picks it up and throws him out. So we have ourselves quite a ball game here. 10 in a row retired by Clayton Kershaw. 9 in a row retired by Ryan Vogelsong. We were talking a little bit about the Dodgers and why they wound up where they wound up as Marco Scutaro with a 19-game hitting streak chips in. Flied to left field in the first inning. One of the things the Dodgers did very, very well, they did not allow home runs. They were very stingy in home runs allowed. That's according to home runs allowed per plate appearances. Dodgers wound up allowing 122. Kershaw comes right back, and it's missing high and outside. Dodgers were 15th in home runs allowed to left-hand hitters, 14th against right-handers, and they were 16th on home runs allowed on the road. They were really tough away from Dodger Stadium. Another thing the Dodgers did this year, and it's a tribute to A.J. Ellis and the pitchers, the fact they cut down stolen bases. The next pitch is going to be hit into right field for a base hit. So that is hit number one, not only for the Giants, hit number one in the game, wouldn't you know, Marco Scutaro. So he is hit safely in 20 straight as he singles to right, and the batter will be Pablo Sandoval. And a word of caution for Scutaro. The Dodgers also picked off 20 base runners this year. That's 82% higher than the average team. Remarkable. Picked up 20. They also picked off 11 that were caught stealing. So all of the Dodgers and their catchers were really tough on base stealers. Meanwhile, another shot to left field down the line in the corner, bouncing up against the bullpen gate. Scutaro will stop at third. Ramirez was all set to relay to the plate. So Sandoval a double, and the Giants have runners at second and third, one out. First base open, and Buster Posey with Hunter Pence on deck. Shane Victorino having to go to the bullpen gate to recover the ball. So Sandoval, following the base hit, comes up with a double. It would be his 25th double. Some Panda fans are here. And here's Buster Posey. First base open. They will pitch to him. Kershaw out of a stretch. Posey struck out in the second inning. Kershaw delivers, and he's a little low. Ball one. Talking about strikeouts, of course, with Kershaw on the staff, the Dodgers were fourth highest in a rate of strikeouts to plate appearances in the league. Posey waits. Kershaw delivers. It is swung on and missed. Pitch down. 1 ball and 1 strike to Buster. Dodgers had a very good bullpen. They were third highest in relievers picking up victories. 30 wins coming out of the Dodger bullpen. Kershaw ready in the 1-1 pitch coming up. Fastball dribbled wide of short. Up with it is Ramirez to make the play. But since the ball was not hit hard enough, Scutaro scores, and over to third goes Sandoval. Posey picks up the run batted in, and the Giants take a 1-0 lead. So 2 down, and Hunter Pence coming up with a runner at third. Scutaro carried in the run. Sandoval will be coming down the line. Pence grounded to third in the second inning. Kershaw ready. Fastball is swung on and missed. 0-1. Another thing optimistically for the Dodgers, you know, they had 25 wins from pitchers who were 25 years old and younger. That's really 30% higher than any other team. Pence fouls a pitch back. And on the other side of the coin, the Dodgers had 10 wins from pitchers who were 36 years old or older, 6 more than the average. A tribute to Rick Honeycutt, who did a good job, especially with those younger pitchers. 0-2 the count to Hunter Pence. Kershaw set. Comes back to the plate, and he's away with a fastball at 94. 1-0 in favor of the Giants. We're in the fourth. 1-2 to Pence. Xavier Nady on deck. Kershaw trying to get out of the trouble. And the 1-2 pitch to Hunter Pence. Breaking ball moves him off the plate. 2-2. By the way, we're reading things to you, and so many of them sound so good. I'm sure you're saying, yeah, that sounds great, but how come they didn't win? How come they couldn't even make the second playoff card? Well, as we said, we're just skimming the cream off the top. Here's the 2-2 pitch to Hunter Pence, and it is swung on and missed, and down he goes for Kershaw, his third strikeout. Giants get a run, lead 1, and lead 1-0. Television today, Brad Zager, who's been our producer since 2004, and we have mixed feelings about the fact we're going to lose him. Well, we'll lose him with our warmest wishes. He's heading to Japan to establish a Fox Sports network in Japan. A big job, but he is talented, and at 34, well ready for the assignment. So from all of us on the crew to Brad, we love you. And we wish you only the very best. And the next time we see you, you will indeed be Ichiban #1. Ryan Vogelsong ready to work now against the Dodgers, and it'll be Mark Ellis. And Ellis takes a strike. Couple of changes for the Giants, and of course that's to be expected. Hector Sanchez is now behind the plate. Two other changes in the outfield. Next pitch on the corner for a strike. In center field is Gregor Blanco. Peguero is now in right. Francisco Peguero. 0-1 the count to Mark Ellis. He holds up on a pitch high. 1-2 the count. We were talking about the Dodgers and some of the things that they did do very well, and also some of the things that they did not. Check swing. Dodgers did not score runs in platoon situations. In other words, if a Dodger left-hand hitter faced a right-hand pitcher, their run production was down 10% below the National League average. Ball 3. When Dodger right-hand hitters face left-hand pitchers, their run production was down below the National League average as well. And although it might come as a surprise, the Dodgers didn't score runs at home. They were 15% below the average in scoring runs at Dodger Stadium. That's going to be popped in the air. Going out to get it is Scudero. And we have one away here in the 4th inning. And the batter will be Andre Ethier. Another thing the Dodgers have had, older players. Plate appearances by players 36 and older. That was almost 70% higher than the National League average. Dodger leadoff hitters scored fewer runs than the National League average. Here's Ethier. 0-1 the count. If you look at the middle of the Dodger lineup, and of course that's a surprise. Talking about Kemp, Gonzalez, Ramirez, numbers 3, 4, and 5. The middle of the lineup was not as productive as the National League average. The numbers 3 through 6, 6% fewer runs scored than the average. Bottom of the lineup didn't score much. 1 ball and 1 strike to Andre Ethier. Vogelsong trying to pick up a win. His 15th. His breaking ball misses. 2-1 the count. Giants lead 1-0. A single by Scutaro and a double by Sandoval got him to third. Ground ball by Posey picked up the run. 2 balls and 1 strike to Andre. He hesitates. It's off the plate. 3-1 the count. Strike 3-2. A couple of other things about the Dodger offense. They didn't score runs in late and close situations, even though they wound up in 56 games decided by 1 run. And that's ball 4. And the Dodgers, after 10 in a row, finally get a base runner, Ethier, on a walk, and that'll bring up Matt Kemp. One of the things, really, since they're playing each other, the most direct comparison for the Dodgers would be to compare them against the Giants. After all, they face each other 18 times a season, and the Giants are division winners. Neither team hit a lot of home runs. Dodger rate, not to get statistical on you, but it was 1.7%. Giants 1.9, so neither club hit a lot of them. That's a strike to Matt Kemp. The Giants clearly outscored the Dodgers this year. The Giants also had more total bases from their hitters. For instance, the Giants had 57 triples. Of course, they have a huge ballpark. The outfield's even bigger than here. 0-1. 0-2. The Dodgers hit into far too many double plays. They hit into 24% more double plays than the Giants. And the Giants struck out far less than the Dodgers. Giants were more effective in driving in runs, and they were very aggressive to take the extra base if it was available. Giants also had a lot more infield hits than the Dodgers. Giants loaded the bases about 20% more times than the Dodgers did. So huge differences between the two teams as to why one's atop the heap, having won 94, and the other will be home tomorrow with only 85, as Matt Kemp swings and down he goes, but he did get a little bit of it. So he started to walk away as if he was going home, but it was fouled in the dirt. Giants were more aggressive than the Dodgers, in the sense the Dodgers took more called strikes than the Giants did. We won't bother you with percentages. 0-2 to Matt. This time he swings, doesn't get it, and he's done. So Matt strikes out a second time today. So to give you the way he's finishing up the year, Matt Kemp struck out 3 of his 4 at-bats yesterday. He has now struck out 5 of his last 6, and he struck out twice before that. So he has struck out 7 of his last 10 at-bats. No contact. Mattingly over to say something to him. And with 2 down, the batter, Adrian Gonzalez. That's a strike, 0-1. Watching Gonzalez take that strike brings up another point. The Dodgers took more called strikes, got themselves into the hole more than the Giant hitters. 0-1 to Gonzalez. Swing and a miss on that fastball. A lot of movement. So Vogelsong with the count his way, no balls and 2 strikes. No balls and 2 strikes to Adrian Gonzalez. 1-0 Giants. Bottom of the 4th. A pitch up out of the strike zone. Wow. So Adrian Gonzalez chasing one. That's another strikeout. 7 strikeouts for Vogelsong. He leads 1-0. Piazza hits 2 home runs to help lift the Dodgers past the San Francisco Giants.
Back goes Martinez to the wall. It is gone. Miracle upon miracles. He's hit another one.
The performance would solidify Piazza as the National League Rookie of the Year, and the win would knock the rival Giants out of the pennant race. Interesting to look back and realize that Dusty Baker was the losing manager, and of course Dusty has gone through some physical problems, had a minor stroke, but he will be at the helm for Cincinnati when they play the Giants on Saturday. Kershaw in the dirt to Xavier Nady. Dodgers put Shane Victorino in center. Elian Herrera is now in left, and they've sent Matt Kemp back to the clubhouse. Some highlights, some lowlights, some bruises, some pain. His teammates with great respect and affection. The old have a good winter. Meanwhile, Nady to short, 1 away, and the batter will be Brandon Belt.
First baseman number 9, Brandon Belt.
Nick Punto is now at second base. One other change for the Dodgers. So Mark Ellis comes out. Nick finishes up. Brandon Belt struck out in the 3rd inning, and Matt's not leaving. He's staying on the bench. Belt struck out in the 3rd inning. Kershaw has 3 strikeouts. Interesting, when the game started, we were talking about Kershaw trying to catch R.A. Dickey, who has 230 and Clayton has 221. And it's Vogelsong, who has struck out 7 in 4 innings. Dodgers now Gonzalez and Punto, Ramirez and Cruz, Herrera, Victorino and Ethier, Fedorovich behind the plate. Fastball right down the pipe. 3-1. Kershaw trying to win his 14th, trying to beat the Giants a second time and the 8th time in his career. That's a foul ball. As we told you at the start, you look at Kershaw's earned run average and you just can't believe that the Giants have beaten him at all. 3-2. And that's a ball 4, high fastball. So Kershaw walks his first man. He gave up a run and 2 hits in the 4th inning, and that's a difference in the game. And the batter, Joaquin Arias. In looking back over the year, and this is the day to do it, when the Dodgers defeated the Cubs all the way back on the 17th of June, the Dodger record was 42-25. That's 17 games above 500. There's a little hopper to Punto. He'll go the quick way to Gonzalez. Down to second base safely goes Belt. And with 2 out, Ryan Vogelsong will be coming up.
Number 32, Ryan Vogelsong.
Imagine June the 17th, 17 games above 500. Of course, what had happened, the Dodgers had taken advantage of their schedule. They started 35-19 against clubs who had a record below 500 for the month. But they did okay. They played well against clubs with a record above 500, but they only played 13 games against the so-called good teams, and they were 7-6. So 35-19 against the bad clubs, 7-6 against good clubs. Now, that was a sobering thought back in June. 0-1 to Vogelsong, foul back. Since that date, since June the 17th, the Dodgers for the remainder of the season, right through October 1, played only 17 games with a club with a record below 500. They won 10 of those 17. However, they had to go through the remainder of the schedule against better teams, those above 500, and they were 10 games under 500 on the good clubs. So they really weren't that good a ball club. They were 33-43 against teams above 500. 1-2 to Vogelsong. Oh, what a curveball. See you later. That's mean to throw a pitcher a breaking ball like that. 4 strikeouts for Clayton, and at the end of 4.5, 1-0 Giants.
Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite.
Bottom of the 5th inning on a lovely afternoon, 82 degrees. There is certainly a touch of fall in the air. Brian Vogelsong, through 4 innings, has not allowed a hit. He's allowed just 1 base runner. That's when he walked Andre Ethier in the 4th inning. So Hanley Ramirez, then Shane Victorino, and Luis Cruz against Vogelsong in the 5th, with the Giants leading 1-0. We've been giving you a lot of notes on the Dodgers. Hope we're not overwhelming you. We're trying to get out from under numbers and just kind of give you a general idea. But we'll put it this way to sum up the Dodgers, the Giants, and let's throw the Cardinals in for good measure. Talking about how each team played against the good teams, teams above 500. Strike to Ramirez, 0-1. Against clubs with a record below 500, it was the Giants, then the Dodgers, and then the Cardinals. Against clubs with a record above 500, it was the Giants, and then the Cardinals, and the Dodgers. So you can understand, number one, why the Giants are where they are. And number two, looking at those numbers, you get an idea of why the Cardinals were able to beat the Dodgers for the second wild card. There was one other difference in the schedule. It certainly wasn't planned that way, but it's the way it worked out. And this one, of course, says a lot in really one sentence. But let's wait for the 1-1 pitch to Hanley Ramirez. All right, ball 2. In essence, the Cardinals played 12 more games against clubs with a record below 500, and the Dodgers played 12 more games against clubs with a record above 500. That's a big difference. 2-1. Check swing. They're going to look. No swing. Anyway, it's last day of the year, so you kind of look back, see just why they wound up where they did. Just a few thoughts. That'll be enough. We don't want to wear you out. That's hit in the air down the right field line, slicing foul, out of play. 3-2 the count to Hanley Ramirez, hitting .257. 24 home runs, 92 runs batted in. Giants lead 1-0. A 1-out single by Scutaro. A double by Sandoval sent him to third. And then Posey grounded out to pick up the run. 3-2. Fastball and a routine ground ball. Scutaro makes the play. 1 out, 5th inning. Shane Victorino started the game in left field. Finishing up in center. Stolen bases. Well, Victorino right up there with the big boys. 39. One back of Reyes. Everett Cabrera of San Diego with 43 atop the heap. Victorino hit back to the box in the 2nd inning. Looked like a change, got away, ball 1. Giants are off for the next 2 days. The Dodgers are off for the next several months. 1 ball and no strikes. 1-1. Dodgers have to be so grateful, and I know they are, for the remarkable allegiance of their fans year after year after year. 26 times Dodgers have drawn over 3 million. Victorino, fly ball to right center. Out there waiting is Blanco. 2 down. Let's get you thinking a little bit. trivia question for the day. The Giants and Dodgers finished 1-2 this year for the 10th time since moving west in 1958. Here's the question. Which team finished first the most times? I will give you the answer in a while. 2 down. Here's Cruz. Luis struck out in the 3rd inning, 0 for 1. And ball 1. Giants are going to be playing Cincinnati. You might be interested to know how they played them during the year. Giants split 4 at AT&T Park with the Reds and lost 2 out of 3 in Cincinnati. So the Reds had the edge 4 games to 3. And they'll go after each other starting Saturday. Ryan Vogelsong putting on a gem. Dodgers do not have a hit with 2 out in the 5th inning. We don't really get worked up about it until the pitcher gets into the 7th. What have we had? 7 no-hitters this year, I believe. Yeah, 7. And a couple of perfect games. 2 or 3. 3. So we'll see about Ryan Vogelsong from Charlotte, North Carolina. 2-2. Of course, Vogelsong was an all-star last year. He was the Willie Mack Award winner, Inspirational Award, in honor of Willie McCovey. Two and two. Fastball. And that's late and popped up. Scudero goes out, gets the glove on it and drops it. And we'll see how they rule it. Kind of a tough play in the sense he was going into right field, and coming charge was Pregame. Maybe he took his eye off the ball for a second. No, he's looking at it and it just went in and out of the glove. You should have seen the catch, the attempted catch Josh Hamilton made today in the Texas-Oakland game. Routine fly ball. He came jogging in, gave it the one-handed ho-ho, and went off the glove. And the last I heard, Oakland was beating Texas and hammered them 12-5. So congratulations to the Oakland A's. What a comeback they made. They were like 13 games back at one time. Meanwhile, Cruz is aboard on the error. Fedorovich struck out because he had company. Cruz, Fedorovich, and Kershaw all struck out in the 3rd inning. 1 ball and no strikes. We were right in talking about Oakland. At one time they trailed the Rangers by 13 games, and they win the title by beating the Rangers today. And they were down 4-1 and 5-1 and came back to win it anyway before a big crowd in Oakland. So it's a pretty happy area up there by the bay again, with Oakland on one side and the Giants on the other, division leaders. It's tastefully quiet here in Los Angeles. 2-1. 2-2 to Tim Fedorovich. 1-0 in favor of the Giants. 1 run, 2 hits for San Francisco. No runs, no hits. The Dodgers have a walk and a runner on an error. Fedorovich, a stocky 5'10", 215. 25 years old. He was born in Erie, Pennsylvania, and lives in North Carolina, a beautiful state. And I assume the little town where he lives has to be up on top of a mountain. The town is named Apex. I mean, it wouldn't be in a valley, so I'm guessing. 2-2. 1-0 Giants. Bottom of the fifth. Cruz at first. Belt holding. And Vogelsong not quite ready. He's only made 68 pitches, so he's been breezing. The inning should be over had Scutaro been able to catch that pop fly.
Everybody clap your hands. Come on,
1 run, 2 hits for the Giants. No runs, no hits for the Dodgers. We're in the bottom of the fifth inning. So Fedorovich waiting on deck. Clayton Kershaw. Ryan Vogelsong does not have a low hit complete game. With the runner going, there's a shot into center field. Hit number 1 for the Dodgers. Cruz going to third. So the honor goes to Tim Fedorovich. The base hit up the middle. So for Tim, he reaches the apex, getting the first Dodger hit. Clayton Kershaw coming up with 2 out, and Kershaw struck out in the third inning. So the Dodgers have the tying run at third in Cruz, checking Vogelsong as we always do. Ryan has 3 wild pitches. Two out, 1-0 Giants, fifth inning. Dodgers at the corners. Kershaw has had a pretty good year with the bat. And he promptly bangs it into center. Base hit. Cruz scores. Fedorovich going to third. He is out at third. Paul Emmel right there to make the call. However, the run scores. Kershaw drives it in. And at the end of 5, a 1-1 tie. I saw a fan walking through the stands carrying a great big horseshoe of flowers, and across it said R.I.P. Giants. That was 1951. 1962, right here with the Giants. Great day for Maury Wills for the moment. He stole 103rd by stealing second base, stole 104 in the 7th inning against Juan Marichal. The catcher was Ed Bailey from Strawberry Plains. And Ed Bailey threw the ball into left field, and Morey scored. But the Dodgers got their heart broken that day as well. So maybe it's disappointment day, October the 3rd, 2012. But as they've been saying in Brooklyn and will say here as long as the game is played, wait till next year. And right now we got a good one, so let's go back to it. Clayton Kershaw gets a base hit, drives in the run. A 1-1 tie. That's a strike. I don't want to take anything away from the pitchers, but let's say it is a pitcher's day. You start the game at 4:15. The lights are now on. Before this, a lot of shadows and sunlight. Had to be tough. So 1 run, 2 hits for each team. Vogelsong has struck out 7, and Kershaw has struck out 4. Of course, it's amazing how well big leaguers are. They can adapt to almost any condition because over the course of their young careers, working their way up to the low minors, they play in every possible conditions. And unless you have ever tried to see a baseball in a minor league park, well, it used to be all the way down to Class D, you have to learn, or there's no way you can climb the ladder. Blanco runs very, very well. He has stolen 26 out of 31. He usually finishes up in left field for Xavier Nady, but today he's finishing up for Pagan in center, and now he is aboard to open up the 6th inning. You know, for exclusive access to the Dodgers all year, log on to Dodgers.com/connect. You can follow them on Twitter and Instagram. You can like them on Facebook, sign up for mobile alerts. So stay connected to the Dodgers by visiting Dodgers.com/connect. Kershaw has walked 2, and Gregor Blanco certainly a problem. Quick throw over there, so they're going to be watching him very carefully. Kershaw has done a very good job in controlling the running game. Young left-hander with a good move. Scudero at the plate, fly to left, single to right, 1 for 2. One tie in the 6th. Clayton trying to win his 14th. He needs 5 more strikeouts to tie R.A. Dickey at 230. That's a strike. He had 1 strike, 1 strikeout in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Vogelsong struck out the side in the 3rd, and that gave him a boost, and he has struck out 7. Gregor Blanco, who can fly. Pagan, who normally would be finishing up at center field, has stolen 29. So they have 2 rabbits out there in center. And got him picked off. Gonzalez to Ramirez, and the tag. One 3-6 from Kershaw to Gonzalez to Hanley Ramirez. Gregor wanted to go, but he didn't want to break that early, and he's out easily. So 1-3-6, good pickoff to get a very, very good base runner, and we have 1 down. Scudero 1 for 2 today, up there with a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Shot up the middle, off the leg of Kershaw, deflected to Cruz, who throws to Gonzalez for the out. All eyes on Kershaw. He hasn't even bothered to rub. Oh, apparently he's okay. That ball was hit hard. Went off his foot. I think it went off his spikes. So he's fortunate. Take another look. Right there. Yep. Off the spikes of the right shoe. Deflected to Cruz. And that's that. One, 5-3. And the strike. Sandoval popped up and doubled. His double sent Scutaro to third, where he scored on the ground ball by Posey. Buster Posey picking up that run batted in. So Buster finished up the regular season 24 home runs and 103 runs batted in. But the top man on the Giants is Hunter Pence. He finished, well, he's not finished. He's still playing. Pence with 24 home runs and 104 runs batted in. And he did come out because Pregame is now in right field. And a foul ball off to the right, back into the stands. Pablo Sandoval hitting .284, 12 home runs, 63 runs batted in. Sandoval missed 56 games this year. Pitch in the dirt, he goes fishing, and that's that. So that's 5 strikeouts for Clayton Kershaw. He now has 226, 4 behind Dickey. Well, as we promised earlier, here's a sneak peek at Taken 2 in theaters this Friday. Finishers in this game, certainly for the Giants. They've just replaced Ryan Vogelsong with Clay Hensley. Vogelsong allowed just 2 hits. Kershaw's allowed 2 hits. They've each allowed just 1 run. It was the unearned run for Vogelsong on the pop fly that got away off the glove of Scutaro. Vogelsong striking out 7. Kershaw has struck out 5. Clay Hensley will now pick up for Vogelsong, and they've also changed the infield around. Joaquin Arias, who started the game at shortstop, has moved over to third base. So Arias, batting 8th in the lineup, is replacing Sandoval at third. Brandon Crawford will be at shortstop, left-hand batter. And Ryan Theriot, former Dodger and Cub, he's at second base.
And a strike. Nick Punto leading off. So Punto, then Ethier and Kemp. And big bouncer. Over there is Ryan Theriot to get him. And we have one out in the 6th inning. And the batter will be Andre Ethier. Well, remember the trivia question? Giants and Dodgers finished 1-2 this year for the 10th time since they came to California in 1958. Which team finished first the most time? You might be surprised. Yep, Giants 6, Dodgers 4. The last time the Dodgers finished first and the Giants second, you'd have to go back to 2004. Dodgers clinched on the next to the last day of the season. We talked about that yesterday. Bottom of the 9th inning, down 3-0, and Steve Finley hit a walk-off grand slam home run. Ball 1 to Andre. Fly to left and walk. 0 for 1. Hitting .283, 3 for 8 in the series. 20 home runs, 89 runs batted in. Way out in front of that change. So the Giant infield is Belt, Theriot, Crawford, and Arias. Nady, Blanco, and Figueroa in the outfield. One ball and one strike. Two and one to Andre. On deck, Elian Herrera finishing up for Matt Kemp. Two and one. I was thinking about Elian Herrera, how quickly it fades. The old story, what they say, what have you done for me lately? Herrera in game 1 had the big hit. Remember the line drive off Scudero's glove? Last night he was coming up in the 9th inning with a tying run at second, and they batted for him. Bobby Abreu flied to left. So Don Mattingly locked up 1-1 here in the 6th in his final game of the year. 3-2 to Andre. And he drives one down the right field line for a base hit. Figueroa over to get it. Andre hustling into second base with a double. For Andre Ethier, that will give him 36 doubles this year. By the way, we have a minute. You want to see some excited people? This is Oakland beating Texas and clinching the division. Look at this. 13 games back. And look at Texas. No dog pile. I'm really happy to see that. Want to show that to the Dodgers. Jump around, pat them on the back, but no nonsense of a dog pile, tearing shirts off, all that other stuff. So Ethier, a 1-out double, and here's Herrera. The only thing I don't like about the dog pile is the fact you could have a serious injury. They could put an 8x10 glossy up in the dressing room or in the dugout of Kendrys Morales. But it would be awful in the height of euphoria to have somebody injured. This doesn't make sense. 1-1. I said that to somebody and got the response, oh, well, they all do it. And I remember my parents saying to me, if everybody jumped off the roof, would you jump off the roof? 1-1. And a one-hopper to short. Just in time to get Herrera. So 2 down. Ethier couldn't move with the ball hit ahead of him. And Adrian Gonzalez now trying to pick him up. Gonzalez with a 14-game hitting streak is 0 for 2. Popped up, struck out. Adrian with and without the mustache this year. Two out, 6th inning, 1-1. And that's going to go into left field. Base hit. Ethier will score. And the Dodgers take a 2-1 lead in the 6th inning. So Gonzalez picks up the ribby and also finishes up the year with his streak intact. For Adrian, 22 RBIs as a Dodger. He had 81 in the American League. So Ethier carries in the run. Gonzalez comes up with the key base hit. And now here's Hanley Ramirez. Ramirez struck out, grounded out. Way out in front of it. 0-1 to Hanley. So Adrian Gonzalez finishes up with a 15-game hitting streak and appropriately enough drives in a run with it. As a Dodger, he's hitting better than .351 with runners in scoring position. So it's another positive note as Gonzalez is finally settling in. Clay Hensley giving up. So now it is a 2-1 Dodger lead. Hensley has been a little scratchy in his last 10 innings. He's allowed 12 earned runs, 16 hits. High fly ball to shallow right. Figueroa is there to make the catch. So Ramirez flies out, but not before Gonzalez gets a base hit to drive in a run. And at the end of 6, 2-1 Dodgers. Into the 7th inning. Aris Castellanos will take over for Andre Ethier, who just scored the go-ahead run. So Andre calling it a year, and it was a nice year for him. Again, putting up good numbers for Andre Ethier. Wound up with 20 home runs, 89 runs batted in, scored 79 runs, and had 36 doubles and a triple. 36 doubles and a triple. 6 straight years with 30 or more doubles. So 2-1 Dodgers, 7th inning. Sanchez hits one deep to left, and it's going to be off the wall. Hector on his way to second and in there. Just beat the tag by Punto. So Hector Sanchez, a switch hitting catcher who caught last night and went 1 for 4. Doubles off the left field wall, just getting there ahead of the tag. So the tying run is out there with nobody out. I mean, that's cutting it close. Francisco Picaro waiting at the plate. He's the right fielder. 0-1 the count. For Bruce Bochy, of course, trying to get all of the extra men into the game. Francisco hitting just .214. Got his first big league hit a week ago against the San Diego left-hander Eric Stultz. He's 24 years old. Francisco Pagero. 1-1. Popped in the air, foul off to the right. Down in the bullpen, George Contos is warming up. He would pick up for Hensley. Dodgers lead 2-1. The lead is in jeopardy with a double by Sanchez. In the dirt, nice scrambling save by Fedorovich. For Clayton Kershaw, in looking at his work this year as a pitcher, he has 6 wild pitches. Almost always that big 12-6 curveball. 2-2. And ground ball to short. No way for Sanchez to go. And the out recorded at first. So Pagero unable to advance his man. 1 down. Xavier Nady, couple of ground balls. Grounded to second, grounded to short, 0 for 2. But he's made 2 big plays in the series. A great throw to the plate to get Gonzalez, and a great catch of an extra base hit against Gonzalez. I don't think the ball he caught last night would have been a home run, but we'll never know. It certainly would have hit the top of the left field wall out by the 76 sign, and if it hits the top, it could have gone over. Xavier hitting only 187, but he's made 2 big plays in the series. 0-1. Ground ball, foul. 0-2. Want to take another look at that catch by Xavier Nady last night. It looked like it had a chance. He times it, he makes the leap and makes the catch. Boy, that was a big play. And against Adrian Gonzalez. (0-2) to Nady with Belt on deck. Light breeze blowing out to right field. Off speed and away. Looked like Clayton kind of aimed that, and looking at his body motion and his delivery, he looked like a bowler trying to wish a gutter ball for a strike. Watch this in his follow through. Missed. 1-2. And comes back hard and low, and down goes Nady. So all of a sudden now Clayton has 6 strikeouts, That means he has 227 strikeouts. He's 3 behind R.A. Dickey, who pitched yesterday and is finished with 230. So he's just behind Dickey in strikeouts, and he's leading in earned run average, and he's leading in the game 2-1. Brandon Belt has struck out and walked 0 for 1. Pickoff play, not in time, but it was close. Hector Sanchez at second base. Sanchez, by the way, finishing up with that double in the 7th inning. In the last 17 games, he's hitting better than .333. And there's a fly ball to left. Coming over is Herrera, and that'll be that. So Sanchez doubles and never leaves second base. And at the end of 6.5, 2-1 Dodgers. Giannis just got in the game. Gonzalez in the game long enough to drive in a run to give the Dodgers a 2-1 lead. And Fedorovich had the base hit. Cruz down at the bottom did score the run. He reached on an error. So the Dodgers, thanks to Andre Ethier's double in the 6th inning, break the tie. And we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. George Contos will now pick up for Hensley. You may remember Contos came in briefly last night. Came in to pitch in the 7th inning and got his man. Matt Kemp struck him out. Victorino to start it off. 2-1 Dodgers, bottom of the 7th inning. 0-1. Clayton Kershaw through 7 has made 89 pitches and he's leading 2-1. Contos, right-hander, will see some action in the playoffs. That's popped in the air, back of first, down the line, slicing foul, back into the crowd. Victorino batting .256. Shane with 11 home runs, 55 runs batted in. Contos went to school at Northwestern. He was raised by his grandparents who were Greek. 1-2 to Shane. Contos had a taste or a cup of coffee in the big leagues last year with the Yankees. And he's 2-2 now to Shane Victorino. Contos from Lincolnwood, Illinois. 26 years old. Ideal size, 6'3", 225. Slow roller. Arias throws and got him. A thoroughly big league play. Boy, with Victorino hitting left-handed, a slow roller like that, you've got to make a tough play, and he did. 1 away. Luis Cruz struck out, reached on the error. Luis visiting with Hector Sanchez for the moment. Arias going back to third after making a good play. Cruz hitting .294. 1 for 10. Giants pretty well shut him down. Fouled away. 0-1. Well, one thing for Luis Cruz, he hung around 300 just about all year. He'd cross it, get up around 305, then drift back down a couple of points. But he's had a very impressive year. Ground ball, base hit. So a 1-out single by Cruz. He goes 1 for 3. And the batter will be Tim Fedorovich. For Cruz, he has 84 hits as he stands at first base. He really came of age as a hitter since the middle of August the 12th. He's hit better than .330 since August the 12th. And fastball strike. 0-1 to Fedorovich, who struck out, singled, and was cut down trying to go from first to third on a base hit by Kershaw. When the Giants come up in the 8th inning, Arias will start it off. 1 ball and 1 strike. As we mentioned, one of the reasons that Bruce Bochy played his front line players, the fact they don't play again until Saturday. And Bochy not very happy to have 2 days off before the playoffs begin. I'm not sure if you're keeping score of this last game of the year, but just in case you are, with the Giants making wholesale changes, Brandon Crawford is hitting in the 2nd spot. Ryan Theriot is hitting 9th, which means he'll bat 2nd in the 8th inning. And the pitcher, in this case, he'll be in Sandoval's spot, Contos. 2-1 the count. Pretty good pitch, 91-mile-an-hour fastball, and the count 2-2. So George Contos. Cruz at first, 1 out. Kershaw, who drove in a Dodger run, is on deck. 2-2 the count to Fedorovich. And down he goes. Of course, pretty hard to judge him. He hadn't played at all in the big leagues this year. Kershaw coming up now with a runner at first. He came up in the 6th inning with runners at first and third and hit a breaking ball into center field for a base hit. The run scored by Cruz. So Clayton picked up the ribby. And for the Clayton Kershaw Marching and Chowder Society, that was his 2nd run batted in. He's hitting .211. Ball 1. Say one thing, Kershaw is going to really have to perform a miracle in the next 2 innings. He has 6 strikeouts, so he needs 4 more to pass Dickey. He's got a good time for it. The lights, as we said, not really taking effect. And he's going to bang it into left field, but it's caught by Needy. So Clayton goes 1 for 3. Lines out to left, and at the end of 7, 2-1 Dodgers. $13.65 or visit Dodgers.com/season tickets. Dodgers trying to hold on to a 2-1 lead, considering the fact that they have been in 56 games decided by 1 run. It would appear to be only fitting that the last game of the year would go down to 1 run. Joaquin Arias, Ryan Theriot, and Gregor Blanco. And as you could see, Clayton Kershaw made 89 pitches. Dodgers have made 2 changes. Juan Rivera is at first, and D. Gordon is at short. And a strike at the plate. So the starting players are disappearing before your very eyes. For the Giants, the only starting players still in the game, Belt and Nady. And for the Dodgers, only Cruz and Fedorovich. Ground foul, 0-2. We've mentioned before, as much as there is such a great Giant-Dodger rivalry, there are no villains, really. I mean, when the Dodgers go up to San Francisco, they are generally booed down here, but there's no particular standout. And the Giants have a fine collection of young men led by a wonderful guide by the name of Bruce Bochy, with Dave Righetti and Tim Flannery, Roberto Kelly et al. And for Bruce, our heartiest congratulations. He has led his team to the division championship. Giants will go home. They'll work out Thursday and Friday, and then begin the postseason grind against Cincinnati. 1-2. Big curveball and a fly ball to center. Victorino. So Arias a fly ball, 1 out in the 8th. Ryan Theriot coming up. Ryan Theriot, veteran second baseman, spent a long time with the Cubs, finishing up his career, although he has a long way to go before it's over, I hope. But playing now with the Giants. With the Cardinals last year, he knows what it's like to win. Terrio's getting ready too, because in his last 17 games, Ryan is batting .321. He does not have a home run, and they're keeping track of that. He has had 619 plate appearances without a home run. That stands as the 3rd longest active streak in the big leagues, because nobody expects him to hit home runs anyway. 1-2 the count to Ryan. For the Giants, he started 81 games at second. However, in the last 43 games, he has started only 3. The reason? Well, you can sum it up in 2 words. Marco Scutaro. Kershaw has 6 strikeouts. He is 227. He is 3 behind Ryan Dickey, R.A. Dickey. 2-2. Fastball. Still throwing hard. That was 93. Clayton has now made exactly 100 pitches. Looking at Clayton's work during the year, he's made 117. He made 120. That's his high. And he takes care of Theriot. All right, that gives him 7. It also gives him 228. So he is 2 behind Dickey. So we have a little race to see if Clayton can make it or not. He's got Blanco. Then he has Crawford, the pitcher spot Cantos, and the switch hitter Sanchez. That's going into the 9th inning. It's 2-1. Dodgers in the 8th. Fastball hit down the left field line, foul. 0-1. Not a bad crowd at all, considering. I mean, a 4:15 weekday afternoon game is not exactly a cherished time to play or to televise. But folks out here to enjoy a gorgeous day. It was 82 degrees when the game started. Pretty good fastball, but off the plate. That was 94. Blanco walked in the 6th inning, and then Kershaw picked him off. One and 2. So all of a sudden, it's a team sport, a team game. But you are wondering now about an individual accomplishment. Kershaw needs 2 strikeouts to get 9. Might be trying awfully hard to do it. Trying to get his 14th win. Check swing. They're going to look. No swing. Paul Emmel on the line. So Kershaw goes all the way. against a left-hand hitter. 3-2. And he has another left-hand hitter on deck, Crawford. We're thinking about strikeouts. Blanco has struck out 104 times. That's a lot of strikeouts for a guy with 5 home runs. Three and two. And off the plate. So Clayton let a left-hand hitter get away at 2 strikes on him. Then he has another left-hand hitter in Crawford, and then the pitcher spot. Brandon Crawford for his first at bat. Scudero flied to left, singled and scored a run, and grounded out, hitting a comebacker off Kershaw's shoe, and now hold everything. Rick Honeycutt's going out to the mound. Brett Pill, a right-hand batter, is on deck. Kershaw made 106 pitches. Kenley Jansen gets up in the Dodger bullpen. He'll begin to warm up. Dodgers 2 runs on 5 hits. Giants 1 run on 3 hits. The Giant error was by Marco Scudero on a pop fly that went off his glove, and the Dodgers cashed that error into a run. That's a strike to Crawford. The paid attendance today, as we mentioned, nice crowd. There are a lot of clubs who would just die to have a crowd on a Wednesday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. 34,014. So another tribute to the fans in Southern California. Certainly appreciated by the Dodgers. The paid attendance for the end of the year, 3,324,246. Last year, the Dodgers missed 3 million. They were at 2.9. 0-1 to Crawford. Oh, now he has him 2 strikes. He let Blanco off the hook. No balls and 2 strikes. A fake at first. He was off the rubber. Oh, and 2 to Brandon Crawford. There goes the runner. Breaking ball is a strike. Down to second. Not in time. There was strike 3, so the inning is over. There's no play at second base, but Larry Vanover punched him out. So the 2 strikeouts here in the 8th inning. It gives Clayton Kershaw 8. He now has 229 as he walks off. 2-1 Dodgers. game, he'll be one shy of R.A. Dickey. Well, he's still in the dugout, so we'll wait and see about that. Meanwhile, it's Vogelsong, Hensley, Cantos, and now Gene Matchie. So Matchie, in his 8th game, no record, just called up. He was a September call-up and made his big league debut September the 3rd. And he will be facing Nick Punto to start it off. Punto finishing up for Mark Ellis. Ellis went 0 for 2, and Punto grounded out in the 6th inning. 0 for 1. Castellanos, who's finishing up in right field, is out on deck. So Punto, Castellanos, and then Herrera. Waiting for Punto to get squared away. 2 runs, 5 hits, no errors for the Dodgers. 1 run, 3 hits, 1 error for the Giants. Bottom of the 8th. Matchie is from El Tigre in Venezuela. We just had a pitcher from Colorado on Sunday who was from El Tigre, the Tiger. He was born in El Tigre. Punto waiting, 0-1 the count. Matchie lives in Carabobo in Venezuela. Slider all the way to the screen. Punto batting .294. Handy guy to have along. Alex Castellanos on deck, and then Elian Herrera. When the Giants come up in the 9th inning, they will have Matchie's spot. We already saw Pill in the on-deck circle, so he'll probably be the hitter. Then Sanchez and Peguero. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fastball fouled off, and Matchie hits 94 on the gun. 1-2 the count to Nick. So Clayton Kershaw standing alongside Mark Ellis. Left arm wrapped, I assume, and that's A.J. Ellis. Right behind him, Aaron Harang. Popped in the air, back at third, angling over as Arias. So Punto pops it up, 1 away in the 8th inning. The Dodgers lead 2-1, and it happened in the 6th inning. Ethier doubled, and a line drive base hit by Adrian Gonzalez picked him up, and that's the difference in the game. 2-1 Dodgers. Giants had scored in the 4th inning. Scutaro singled, Sandoval doubled into third. Scutaro scored on a ground ball by Posey. So here's Castellanos hitting just .136, recently called up. He's been in 15 games, and ball 1. Castellanos looks taller, but he's listed at 5'11", 195. 26 years old, born in Miami and still lives there. Dodgers got him in a deal with St. Louis. Check swing. 2-0. For Alex, he spent some time over 4 minor league seasons with the Cardinals. Joined the Dodgers in 2011. Runs very well. 74 stolen bases. About an 80% success percentage. 2-0. That's a strike. 2-1. So Gene Matchie working on Castellanos with Elian Herrera on deck. Castellanos came to the Dodgers when they sent Rafael Furcal to St. Louis. 2-2 the count to Alex. Down in the Dodger bullpen, up again, Kenley Jansen. So it looks like Clayton has called it a night. A buck short of catching Dickey in strikeouts. Dickey 230, and if he does not go to the mound tonight anymore, Clayton will settle at 229. He came so close because he had Blanco, a left-hand hitter, 0-2, only to walk him. Beautiful time of day, pink sky over the mountains, blue sky directly overhead. Magnificent picture for the final day of the season. And every day you come here, you keep thinking how lucky you are. 3-2. Fastball, check swing. Might have been ball 4, but Alex couldn't afford to take it. Still 3-2. 34,014 enjoying themselves here in the ballpark. To repeat, this year, 3,324,246 have come by Dodger Stadium this year. The Dodgers are grateful and thankful and appreciative. And that's whacked to left field. I mean, Alex got all of that. It's gone. So for Castellanos, a home run, and the Dodgers lead 3-1. Castellanos hits one in about 8 rows back in the lower deck in left field. Fastball out over the plate and above the knees. So he hits it deep, and the Dodgers take a 2-run lead. And the batter now will be Elian Herrera. For Castellanos, that would be his first major league home run. How sweet it must be. Crowd applauding the announcement. Herrera takes ball 1. Castellanos in his 23rd at bat hits the home run. Herrera finishing up for Matt Kemp. Ground ball, base hit into right field. Two hits and a run charged against Gene. And the batter now is Juan Rivera, finishing up for Adrian Gonzalez. 3 runs, 7 hits for the Dodgers, 1 run, 3 hits and an error for the Giants. And we're in the bottom of the 8th, 1 away. On deck, due-up Hanley Ramirez, and D. Gordon is in his spot. Well, Gordon finishing up at short. Herrera over at first base has stolen 4 out of 6. What a magnificent finish of the day. Giants have Belt, Terrio, Crawford, and Arias, Nady, Blanco, and Figuera, and Sanchez behind the plate. Dan Otero begins to throw in the Giant bullpen if Maki can't finish it. And he's off the plate. One ball and no strikes. At first base, Elian Herrera has stolen 4 out of 6. 1-0. And that's off the plate. So Sanchez going out to talk to the right-hander. In the inning, he got Punto to pop up. Then the home run by Castellano, a single by Herrera, and Rivera up there hitting .241 as they count his way, 2 balls and no strikes. Castellanos sharing the experience with Dave Hansen, Dodger pitching coach. 2-0. Fastball and a high drive into deep center. Back goes Blanco. It is gone. Home run by Rivera. The Dodgers lead 5-1. So a tough finish for young Gene Machi. He gives up 2 home runs and a single. Dave Righetti goes out to talk to him. And for Rivera, he clears the center field wall. Juan has 9 home runs and 47 runs batted in. Machi made his first appearance in a big league training camp this year. 30-year-old right-hander, originally signed by the Phillies, also played in Tampa Bay's organization, and now with the Giants, and he's being pushed around. Swing and a miss for Gordon. 0-1 the count to D. Batting .228, 1 home run, 17 runs batted in. The home run he hit in Colorado. Castellanos continues his destruction, talking to Matt Trainer. Matt finished up the year painfully. Took batting practice before the game last night. Strained his left side. So Rivera right behind Castellanos. Each a possessor of a home run here in the 8th. 5-1 Dodgers. And Gordon up there with still 1 out. That was Punto who popped up. Shane Victorino out on deck. Interesting how they play the outfield for Gordon. Nady straight away and shallow and left. Blanco way over to left center, and Figueroa is way over to right center. They cannot believe that Gordon would pull the ball into right field. I'll tell you one thing, if he pulls the ball into right field, it'll be fun to watch him run. 0-2. 1-2. Fastball away. To repeat, when the Giants come up in the 9th inning, it will be the pitcher's spot, then Sanchez and Figueroa. 1-2. Way outside. 2-2. They post up on the board. I guess that's the Twitter for D. Gordon at Skinny Swag 9. Well, there's a new wrinkle. 2-2. And a fly ball, exactly how they played him. The only difference, maybe he has to go back. So 2 out, and the batter will be Victorino.
Center fielder number 8, Shane Victorino.
Skinny Swag 9. Gotcha. Victorino going all the way, started the game in left, moved over to finish in center for Matt Kemp. Shane hit back to the box, fly to center, grounded to third, 0 for 3, hitting .256. Fastball, ball 1. One and 0. Check swing. Victorino, who's made some very strong and accurate throws, winds up the year with 9 assists, tied for 6th among National League outfielders. Not only a fine defensive player playing left and center, Victorino with 39 stolen bases. And a high fly ball coming a mile to come over is Peguero, and he makes the catch. I mean, he was playing Victorino way over in right center. Okay, Dodgers get 3 on 2 home runs. Alex Castellanos, his first of his young career. Rivera hits one as well. 3, now 5-1 Dodgers. Of the final Dodger game of the season, Kenley Jansen will be asked to close up shop. By the way, he relieves Clayton Kershaw, who went 8 innings and allowed just 1 run. That means that Kershaw's earned run average at 2.53 is the best. It also means that young Clayton Kershaw at 24 becomes the first National League pitcher since Randy Johnson to win back-to-back ERA titles. So Kershaw comes out, struck out 8, so he wound up 1 behind R.A. Dickey with 229 strikeouts. And now Aubrey Huff, since there's a right-hander on the mound, Huff will come out of the Giant dugout and pinch hit. Aubrey Huff did not appear in last night's game. He did appear as a pinch hitter in the first game and had a base hit in the 9th inning. 1,698 hits for the veteran Aubrey Huff. Jansen was throwing very hard the last time he pitched, and he was talking about his velocity. He was saying he couldn't figure out why he was just throwing down around 90. And then just throwing in the bullpen, he realized he wasn't fully extending himself. And once he started doing that, the velocity picked up immediately. And that first pitch, he was 92. And that one's 95. 1-1 to Aubrey Huff. Huff spent the majority of the year on the DL Actually, he was on the DL for 63 days. They wondered if he'd ever play again. That's ball 2. For Aubrey, he had 3 separate DL stints. Twice he went on with a right knee sprain, and once with an anxiety disorder. As they say, a lot of this game is played between the ears. 2-1 the count to Aubrey Huff. 7 pinch hits this year. Ball 3, 3-1. Huff hitting .192. He has 1 home run, 7 runs batted in. Hector Sanchez behind him. 3-1. 3-2. Kenley Jansen in his 65th game, an ERA of 2.3, 21 walks, 97 strikeouts, and that's ball 4. So Jansen gives up the walk. The switch hitting catcher, Hector Sanchez, doubled in the 7th inning. Buster Posey went 0 for 2, but he did have a ground ball to pick up a run batted in the 4th inning. So Kershaw from starting pitcher to spectator, and he hopes to be winning pitcher, standing behind A.J. Ellis. Sanchez and then Pregame. Hector batting .281. Breaking ball strike. And that thing came up there at 91 with a bend to it. Sanchez doubled against Kershaw in the 7th inning. Clayton gave up 3 hits. That's a strike. Outside corner at 93. So he has Sanchez in a hole, 0-2. A.J. and Clayton, how often they've talked all year long. Ground foul outside of third down the line. No balls and 2 strikes to Hector Sanchez. Switch hitting catcher. And of course, when they want to give Posey a respite, why, Posey can take over at first base, and they're still in good hands with Sanchez behind the plate. 0-2. And a fly ball to right field. Moving over is Castellanos to make the catch. 1 down. Huff holding at first. And Francisco Pregame coming up. Sanchez going 1 for 2. Hunter Pence hitless in a couple of at bats. Pregame batting .200. Francisco has not played a lot, as you can imagine. He's been in only 16 games. Pence on the sidelines with Scutaro and Matt Cain. Hunter talking about it, and they never stop learning. They never stop teaching each other. Oh, good fastball at 94. 0-2 the count to Francisco Pregame. 1 out in the 9th. Dodgers lead 5-1. Trying to figure an appropriate number to finish the season. 86. And the Dodgers are trying to 86 the season with a victory tonight. And they're very close to it now. The Jansen picks up a strikeout. 9 Giants have struck out. And Kenley facing Xavier Nady, who is 0 for 3. Nady batting .185. Crowd now trying to salute the Dodgers to the end. 0-1 to Xavier. 5 runs, 8 hits, no errors for the Dodgers. 1 run, 3 hits, 1 error for the Giants. Matt Kemp and company thinking of what might have been. Clayton Kershaw realizing what is. 1 ball and 1 strike. Jansen, of course, has an important medical meeting. He had been on blood thinners, as you may remember, and he is supposed to have some kind of a medical procedure during the offseason. 1-2 to Xavier Nady. The winning pitcher, Clayton Kershaw, 14-9, 2-3, 8-4 in his career. Vogelsong, Hensley, Cantos, and Mackey, and Hensley, who gave up the go-ahead run in the 6th inning, would be the losing pitcher. 2-2. 2 out, 9th inning, 5-1 Dodgers. Giants will go to San Francisco. They're off Thursday and Friday. They play Cincinnati on Saturday. Got him. 2 strikeouts for Kenley. 10 Giants strikeout. 2 runs would have been enough behind Kershaw, but the Dodgers added 3 late in the game in the 8th. So 5 runs, 8 hits, and no errors for the Dodgers. 1 run, 3 hits, and 1 error for the Giants. Jim Hansen made 18 pitches to finish off the assignment. Dodgers had home runs by Castellanos and Rivera. They had a double by Ethier and an RBI single by Adrian Gonzalez. They also had an RBI single by Clayton Kershaw. So for Don Mattingly, so near and yet so far, as his ball club winds up winning 86. He looked over and I believe he applauded some of the Giants, especially Bruce Bochy, as they were going back to their dugout and dressing room. So Clayton Kershaw leads the way, as he figures to do for